Battles of Legend Terminal Revenge is only a few days away from release, and besides introducing new support to existing archetype and also importing a ton of cards from the OCG to the TCG for the first time, Battles of Legend sets also introduce a lot of important reprints to the game. Cards that have been expensive and now should probably be less. Now, a lot of you have not been super pleased with Battles of Legend Terminal Revenge based on what I'm seeing online, but it's time to actually look at what Battles of Legend Terminal Revenge did to prices of these expensive reprints. So in today's video, we're going to be ranking the top 10 most expensive reprints in this set. And trust me when I say this set actually made a huge difference on the price of some important cards. So sit back, relax, enjoy, and let's start with number 10. And we're going to be starting at number 10 with Ib the World Chalice Justicard. This card was originally printed in Dark Neostorm and only had one print before being completely forbidden from play. Now, on the previous Forbidden Unlimited list, this card came back to 1 alongside cards like Harp Horror, which also got a reprint in this set. And since it only had one print, the price really spiked because people were sure this card is going to see a lot of play. At the end of the day, it actually didn't see a lot of success, but it started out and it balanced at around $11.83, sort of like the average of the last 6 months. But now after the reprint, and this is important to note that these are all pre-sale prices on TCG Player, so most likely they're all gonna go down, so it's even better than that, looking at around $2.35. Now this is important because when cards are removed from the Forbidden Unlimited list, sometimes they've been there for so long that they haven't been reprinted in a while, so making sure that Konami is reprinting those cards that came off the list, and this happened a lot in this set with this card, Harp Horror and Snatch Steel, really guarantees a good value and a good price tag. At number 9, we have Sprite Blue. This card was originally printed in Power of the Elements, and we didn't really see any official Power of the Elements reprint over the last year. And this set has been one of the most successful and popular and strongest sets in history, and it still didn't really get an official reprint cycle like in the tins. It was totally skipped over. It's going to be in the next tins, but we've seen a lot of Power of the Elements cards reprinted throughout the years. We just had Ultimate Slayer, one of the most powerful and once expensive cards in Power of the Elements, reprinted in the Rarity Collection, but we finally have Sprites. And Sprite Blue was the most expensive one out of them all. It peaked at a lot, like probably $80, $70 on release, but now it's sort of like balanced since Sprite didn't really see a lot of meta play at around $15. And now after the reprint, especially because it's an ultra rare, this card is currently being pre-sold for $3, which is pretty good. You probably need 3 of these, but the rest of the cards are relatively free. At number 8, we also have another Sprite card that was released at the set after Power of the Elements in Darkwing Blast, and it was a secret rare that didn't get a reprint as well from Darkwing Blast, and it is Sprite Sprint. Sprite Sprint was obviously a really good Sprite card, but at its peak, this card was actually a stronger Tier Elements card. Being able to send any level 2 from the deck means that you can send Merly with this with card effect and get another fusion. So this card did see a lot of play, and similar to Sprite Blue, this card was around $15, and now on pre-sale, it is $2.71 on TCG Player, which I think is absolutely great. This card definitely needed a more accessible reprint, so Sprite prices being cut down to like 20-25% of their price is really good. Number 7, another Power of the Elements card, one of the strongest cards out of Power of the Elements that were pretty underrated at first, but then, come Castro format, this card saw a lot of play, and is still seeing a lot of play today because it's a Fire level 1. And it's of course Kurikara Div Incarnate. This card was a secret rare back in Power of the Elements. It was actually reprinted as an ultimate rare a few OTS tournament packs ago, and even though that's a reprint, that still kind of keeps the card at a higher price tag because it is a luxury rarity that's hard to pull and it's only exclusive for tournaments. So, Kurikara, before this reprint, was around $19 for the original secret rare from Power of the Elements, which is relatively good considering this card at peak when people were buying it out because of Kashira format was around probably $60, $70. So from $19, almost $20, the reprint is now $7.60, which is, I think, pretty solid. It's still a pretty expensive price tag, but this card today, with Snake Eye being able to actually search this directly from the deck with Snake Eye Ash, usually you might only play one of them, so it's fine to drop maybe $7 on a staple that you just need in your binder in case it ever becomes relevant again. Number 6, the End of Anubis. I love this card. This card was one of the 2 original secret rares from Ancient Sanctuary. That was a long time ago, but the End of Anubis only had around 3 or 4 prints, but they were all really old. I think the newest one out of them all was the Lost Millennium Special Edition or something like that, or maybe like Dark Beginnings 2 or 3. That's a long time ago. I have a print of this card. This is a very old print, and it's kind of cool. So the End of Anubis is a fiend that kind of sees play today, maybe in decks like Chimera, because they can actually summon it from the graveyard. And because this was such an old print, this card was around $19, cruising around $5 for the cheapest print from back in the day. But getting a new, fresh print at now $1.30, I think is kind of worth it. Now, going into the top 5, a little bit more meta relevance, and Diviner of the Herald is a big card in today's format. Being played a lot in Voiceless Voice, of course, being tributed and being able to summon low the prayers of the Voiceless Voice from the deck is a really good boost to the strategy. Diviner has always been such a good card since release, being played in Drytron, now Voiceless Voice, always being a meta contender, and it was cruising around $23 to $14.90, around $15 for the tins reprint. So consider this card already had a reprint as a secret rare in the tins, but because of Voiceless Voice, it got a surge in price and spiked back up to around $25. And now being reprinted in OTS Ultimate Rare in OTS 25 didn't really help the price, but getting an Ultra Rare lowers it all the way down to $3.50. So really good one on that. We thought that Diviner is only gonna get the ulti print, but apparently Konami had some other plans. Number 4, Aromatherapy Jasmine, a card that has been a staple, almost even a 3-of staple in the extra deck of plant decks. One of the strongest cards that I would consider being completely bannable. This card had one print in Dual Power, which was like a box set that you can buy that had like a game board and stuff. It was an ultra rare, but this card, guys, was $25 before the reprint, which is crazy. It probably spiked a little bit higher than that. Now being reprinted as a secret rare and a QCR, this card went all the way down to $7.50. Still pretty expensive considering it's a secret rare, but again, these are all pre-sale prices, so you'll probably want to cut down around 20 or 30% out of all these prices, so it's a pretty good one. Surprisingly enough, number 3 is Granguignol the Dusk Dragon. This card is only an ultra rare from Photon Hypernova. This card obviously is the pillar of the branded strategy today, being able to send any light or dark level 6 or higher monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard is very strong. Seeing primarily a lot of play in branded, but some experimentation in decks like Tier Limits that can cheese this card out and maybe send something from the extra deck to the graveyard like a Garura to draw or maybe get another fusion in. This card for some reason spiked at $31 for the ultra rare from Photon Hypernova, which is crazy. Now it's getting a reprint, but currently pre-sale prices are almost at $10. This is a relatively expensive reprint, but I would assume this card is going to go down a bit as well. At number 2, of course, it's Substitute. This card just got off the Forbidden Limited list about a year ago, kind of switching places with Ronin Totem, and it was originally printed in Light of Destruction, which was a long time ago. And guys, this was its only print ever. This is a very old set, the original set of Lightsworns, but it's not only the fact that it's old, it's the fact that Light of Destruction had a very small print cycle. If you look at original Light of Destruction cards and boxes or even booster packs, you'll see it's very scarce and very expensive. So this card was very pricey, and being let go from the Forbidden Limited list only spiked up the price. And current balanced price was around $36, which is very, very expensive for a card that doesn't see play in Modern, but maybe sees play in other alternative formats. Now, with this reprint, it's around $8.50, which is really good. Because first of all, this is a rarity bump. It's getting bumped up to Secret Rare, it's getting a fresh print, new text, everything is good. And again, pre-sale, so it's probably gonna go down a bit. And at number 1, you're not gonna really believe this, but it's Sengenjin. Yeah, Substitute is somewhere up there because it only has one print. Sengenjin has a few prints, so maybe the average price is a bit lower, but sort of like the average price on this card was $43. And there's not a lot of pre-sale prices at the moment that I could find, but it's probably gonna be like around $5 maybe. This card is getting a reprint because it's getting a retrain in the next set, Infinite Forbidden, in the new Millennium archetype. And this card previously was only a Premium Pack 2 card, which is a very old and exclusive pack, and also a World Championship Series promo, which is obviously very expensive. This card is just an OG vanilla, but it's really, really cool to see some vanilla love in this set as well. So this is a very important reprint, especially for collectors. And these are the top 10 most expensive reprints in the new set, Battles of Legend Terminal Revenge. What do you think? Leave it down in the comments below. Do you think Konami did a good job in this set when it comes to lowering the price of important staples and expensive cards? I'm gonna give my 2 cents here. I think that yes, looking at these top 10, looking at a lot of forbidden cards that came off the list and now got a reprint, a lot of staples that are seeing play. We're seeing Diviner, we're seeing Sprite Sprint, we're seeing Jasmine and Grand Guignol. These are all staples that needed a reprint, and Konami actually addressed it. So I think it's great. I think this is a win out of Konami right now. Leave your comments down below and your thoughts. Like the video, subscribe. I will see you in the next one. Peace out.